blood stain.
What is this?
It's a blood stain.
This is blood.
In 1995, there was an attack by the RAF here in this place.
So the RUF hides in the bushes, and then when they come by, they shoot?
They shoot here. Vehicles, but the passengers in the vehicles, they were killed, their properties were looted and then carried away. And some of them, even the females, were captured, and then they used them as their bushwives. That's what exactly happened here.
Here is the West African country of Sierra Leone, and the man talking is Edwin Coy, a survivor of this country's brutal 10-year civil war. I first met Edwin in the capital city of Freetown, at a museum where he volunteered. The museum displayed his countrymen's visions of the future. I told him I was a filmmaker. He said he had been praying for me to come, and he was glad that I'd finally arrived. Then he gave me a videotape. He told me to get it out of the country and show the world. I had come to Sierra Leone to do a documentary about child soldiers, ones that had fought in the war here. I knew that many had committed the most brutal atrocities, and that now they were supposedly being reintegrated back into society. That's what I had come to do, but as so often happens, events were taking me in a different direction. The new direction began when Edwin asked me if people in my country cared about what happened in Sierra Leone. I lied and said yes. What I knew was that most Americans couldn't find this country on a map, let alone tell you anything about the catastrophe that occurred here. I don't know why, but at that moment I felt an obligation to remedy that situation, to focus a little light on the dark subject of Sierra Leone's recent past. So here goes. Diamonds are this country's curse. Sierra Leone has lots of them, and they are of high quality. Many sit near the surface and can be dug out with shovels. These diamond fields in the Kono district were the first target of the rebel army, known as the Revolutionary United Front, or RUF. Jimmy Tamba took me to the village of Tombudu in the diamond fields. When the RUF took this town, dozens of local people hid in this house. So everyone in the house was burned to death when they burned the house down?
Yes, everyone in the house was burned.
Lots of people in Tombudu were killed. Some tried to hide in the bush. Some were captured and offered as human sacrifice. Others simply had their limbs hacked off. Amputations were a trademark of the RUF.
Those legs or arms that have been amputated or chopped, they put them in bags. When their bosses from the other areas enter to visit them how their operation is on the ground, actually they told them that this is what we've kept for you. So for them to know that they are doing a very good job, which is very evil.
They show them the bag full of hands.
Yes, bags, so many bags. You see, so there they also got their promotions. And so they say, oh, you commander, you that are here in charge, you are doing a very good job. You can see this all are the marks of bullets. Bullet marks.
Bullet holes?
Yes, bullet holes.
Jimmy's father worked for one of the diamond mines. He was murdered by the rebels and his house destroyed. The war officially ended in 2002, but not for Jimmy.
So it's like every day I feel bad, really.
Every day?
Every day.
Jimmy's heartbreak is typical. His story is like many I heard while in Sierra Leone. In 1994, Edwin Coy's village was attacked by the RUF. His father, a police officer, was captured.
They decided to kill him. So he was beheaded. His head was cut off by a machete. And my mother, too, was captured, and she was raped before me. And,
You saw this happen?
Yeah.
You saw your father and your mother
Of course, yes. In fact, when his head was cut off, they told me to take the head and kiss it, and which I did because I was under gunpoint. The commander told me that if I refused to do so, I would be shot on sight. So, to save my life, I just have to. And I kissed the head, and they instructed me to laugh, and I laughed.
The videotape Edwin had given me was his documentation of the day the RUF invaded Freetown. It had lain hidden beneath the floorboards of his house for several years. He wanted me to have it because he hoped it would open doors for him. He considers himself a journalist, one without training or a job, but a reporter just the same.
In fact, one of the commanders told me that, oh man, you are a journalist, we can't help you, we can't guarantee your safety. So you better take off your camera and then you hide and find your way out because we are now in a tense situation, something like that, you know.
So you could have been killed.
Oh, of course, yes. In fact, I managed to escape one bullet. It was not an easy one. Of course, I would have been a dead man. But having the zeal, having the intention to really complete my mission, I went on.
More on Edwin's tape later, but first, I had been sent here to document children that had fought in the war, and after 2 weeks I had yet to meet one. Edwin seemed to know just about everyone in the country, so I hired him as my assistant, and we went looking. Along the way, Edwin talked about the war and a militia partly comprised of cannibals that had helped defeat the RUF. He said most people in his country considered these cannibals national heroes. I decided to take a detour. These are Kamajors, members of a secret hunter society within the Mendi tribe. In the small village of Jerryhoon, they were initiating a new chief. During the war, the Kamajors formed a militia to fight the rebels. The RUF feared them the most because the Kamajors are fierce warriors who eat their enemies' hearts and livers.
This whole house was captured by the Kamajor after they killed my father. He was really killed by them. They cook him and then they eat him.
This is Ezekiel, and yes, you heard right. The Kamajors ate his father. They suspected him of being a collaborator, which turned out not to be true. They also took Ezekiel's father's house and made it their base.
Yeah, Yamoto base.
Yamoto base.
Yeah, it was called. Let's go.
Ezekiel told me many people were cannibalized at Yamoto base.
Yeah, when immediately they captured you, they bring you here.
They put you in this room?
Yeah, where you are going to remain. Immediately for a time, they will take you along. Then they slaughtered you behind.
Behind the house.
Yeah, when they slaughtered you, they will come with your flesh, your empty shell now, and then they went ahead to cook.
So they cook the people, they slaughter them in the back, and then they cook the people.
Exactly so, they used to do so.
I asked Edwin what Yamoto means.
Because those that are actually eating these human beings, they name themselves as Yamoto. So the house was named as a Yamoto base, meaning sweet and soft to chew.
The man in the red hat yelling, "The devil is going to eat me now," is Henry Leone, a former commander of a Kamajor militia. I hear that the Kamajors are fierce warriors.
Oh, yes.
And that they're protected from bullets.
Yes.
How?
There is a liquid known as Nessie. When we rub it, and it will become more powerful, no bullet will hurt us.
When you rub it on your skin?
On your skin. Oh. No bullet will hurt you. So it was because of that. It was because of that we overpowered the area. Even you, if you are a fighter, you want to capture this land, I will attack you, and I will capture you, and I will disarm you. If you want to try it now, if you even want to try it now, I will do it and I will eat you.
Edwin and I got back on track. I needed to find a child soldier, preferably one that had been in the RUF. Edwin knew of a refugee camp where he thought we could find one.
When I see group of people passing, when I saw refugee there, I can be scared.
He is speaking a Liberian form of Pidgin English.
Because they always accuse us as being rebels.
So the rebels, you mean RUF?
No, not RUF.
Not RUF. What is it? Which rebels?
La Malaysia group were in Liberia.
Oh. So he wasn't quite in the RUF. He was in a Liberian militia that was allied with the RUF. He told me he was kidnapped and forced to fight when he was 9 years old, and that now he didn't dare leave the camp for fear of being beaten up by the locals. Then the interview was abruptly stopped. I had written permission to film, but a big man said I needed more permission from somebody somewhere. No one was quite sure who. I tried to imagine a 9-year-old with an AK-47, living in the jungle, out of his mind on drugs given to him by his commander. His parents are dead, and he is being ordered to kill or be killed. Many of the soldiers on both sides were children. Jimmy told me the younger boys were the most dangerous.
They see human beings like chickens. They see human beings like chickens, so they are not afraid to do whatever they like to do to human beings.
This bunch all fought in the war, and this time we had permission to interview. Their reasons for becoming soldiers are pretty much the same. Were you kidnapped?
Of course, I was kidnapped because when they killed my parents, I had nowhere to go, so I too decided to follow.
So you go with them?
Yeah.
Did they kill your parents and then
Yeah.
take you?
Yeah.
That's what happens?
They even killed my mother and my brothers and sisters. So that made me join the war.
Officials had warned me that many of the children had been interviewed too much. Some now embellished their stories to please journalists, while others were tired of talking about the war, and some just didn't want to remember. What they did want to talk about was their current plight. After fighting wound down, they had given up their guns in exchange for school supplies and tools to work with. They don't seem to be getting what they were promised.
We are not receiving no good support from them, especially the school materials. We only receive, since from that time, we only receive, let me say, one pair of uniform. You see?
So materials are difficult to come by.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Funding is cut, priorities change, promises are broken. I left wondering what the consequences might be. So who exactly was behind all this trouble? Ralph Hazelton's specialty is uncovering the connection between diamonds and the war in Sierra Leone. He works for an organization called Partnership Africa Canada. Their research on diamonds earned them a 2002 Nobel Peace Prize nomination.
The rebels' main occupation, other than hacking people's limbs off, was mining diamonds. And they had forced labor of people in the eastern and southern part of Sierra Leone to mine diamonds and send them back to Liberia and then trade them for guns and for increasing the bank accounts of his and his senior people.
When you say his, you mean Charles Taylor?
Charles Taylor's personal accounts.
Charles Taylor was the president of Liberia, Sierra Leone's neighbor to the south. Now he is an indicted war criminal hiding in Nigeria. I mean, it's all about diamonds, fundamentally.
It's about theft. It's about theft. Charles Taylor first raped and pillaged his own country, and then became an international criminal from trying to rape and pillage Sierra Leone, trying in Guinea, and more recently even behind fighting in Ivory Coast, in Côte d'Ivoire.
To Charles Taylor, war was just good business. As long as there was chaos in Sierra Leone, he got his diamonds. When stability finally came, he lost his main source of income. He lost his cash cow. Diamonds may be at the heart of this conflict, but what was in the hearts of the people? How could such atrocities have happened? Back in Freetown, Edwin and I headed for a meeting with the former president of the World Council of Churches, Bishop Joseph Humper.
For us in Sierra Leone, the rebel war is considered the most heinous, brutal, gruesome war that had ever taken place in the world, in the sense that men lost their senses, men and women lost their senses and committed the most vicious and heinous atrocities that one would think of.
The bishop believes that when the Civil War broke out, it ignited a fury in individuals that had been building up for a long time, a fury caused by decades of prior abuse heaped on the people by the government. When it came to atrocities, the war was simply the catalyst, the gas on the fire that made them explode.
Problems that occurred in this country had to do with all of us, including religious leaders, because we saw, some of us at least, at some point in time, saw the difficulties, the problems, and we became voiceless. We became defenseless when we should have defended our people. We became helpless when we should have gained our strength from the people to speak on their behalf.
To speak out.
To speak out.
In January 1999, the RUF advanced on the capital, Freetown. They called their offensive Operation No Living Thing. As they entered the city, they were met head-on by Nigerian soldiers sent to restore order. Edwin Coy took his old video camera and went directly into the battle zone. These are his images.
Talk the truth.
These small boys are captured RUF soldiers. What happened to them after this picture was taken is difficult to determine.
I was having the vision that I need to do something to get that as an evidence, as memoir, so that people can see exactly what actually went on in Freetown.
Believe it or not, I have cut out some of Edwin's most graphic images. Heads exploding, blood gushing from what was once a chest. But as evidenced by this tape, the forces sent to protect the city also committed atrocities. Cruelty is contagious. So this is your youngest son?
Yeah, he's the youngest son.
Formally, peace broke out here in 2002. There is hope for the new government, but serious problems still remain. Corruption, no jobs, no way for people to get ahead.
Oh, Francis is joining.
It was time for me to leave Sierra Leone. Edwin seemed sad. He pointed at a small island in the distance, a place where slave traders had held his people captive before shipping them to America. Edwin wanted to go to America. He said it was the best country in the world. My last day I took this picture, democracy stranded on the beach in Sierra Leone. Then I noticed another boat, this one full of people. Edwin continues to volunteer at the museum. It is his way of fighting depression. He wants to work, but that's difficult in Sierra Leone. Still, he has not given up his dream of being a journalist. He hopes to find a job so he can save money and buy a new camera.